Norman Floyd Barnes is located. There is interesting news I also want to share with you. Over here in the studio, we were discussing the latest comments of US President Donald Trump regarding Iran, regarding the Strait of Hormuz, how CENTCOM has stated they have targeted on 140 military assets belonging to Iran. On the other hand, we see that President Donald Trump grows very concerned of his own safety, given that he predicts that he may be assassinated while serving as the President of the United States of America. Also, a very sad news coming out from various sources stating that U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham has passed away, and he was briefly sick while before this very sad news came out. I want to pass it to Norman Floyd Barnes. What are some of the updates you have for us? A very good morning to you, Norman.
Yes, good morning from Washington. Senator Lindsey Graham has passed away. We received the news. He had obviously a sudden illness which causes him to pass away. And so he, as you know, was a very strong supporter of the president. And now that's a gap, that's a void there. And we're still looking into the issue in the Middle East. The Strait of Hormuz is now back on the table again. Actually, basically, the Iranians stated they have actually officially announced to the world that the strait is closed. The United States has responded with military actions, like you say, over 140 attacks yesterday. They will continue. They will be more intense and more destructive and more impact on the infrastructure. What that means is something I don't know. I don't know if they it's really going to have a real effect on changing the attitude. But right now we're in a state of immense conflict, and we just waiting to see exactly what's the next thing that happens regarding that area. The talks, they're not talking, the government is not talking about continuing the talks, but they are not talking about ending the talks. So it's basically in the middle between, yes, we're still able to talk, but right now we're taking action. So right now it appears that the United States and Iran are in conflict with each other, military action. So where this escalates, I don't know. All I know is that the countries in the Gulf states are being impacted. Add to that list now, Oman has been now just received attacks, drone attacks from Iran. And I think this is a result, well, I know this is a result of their changing of the mind on how to administratively handle the Gulf region, and particularly the Strait of Hormuz. So we've been going over this for several weeks, and it looks like we're back in the same situation, square one, like we started before earlier this month. Nothing has progressed. So now we are looking at a situation where the aggression of military action is going to lead to some type of, hopefully we don't have to put troops on the ground there, but it looks like something will happen. Something is happening right now, and the cost of that is very severe to the global economy.
Norman Floyd Barnes, how are you assessing this very situation? Some historical issues from the past, as the Kennedy assassination as well. We raise other assassinations of leaders from around the globe as well. And today, that spotlight is very much on US President Donald Trump. We have seen every now and then someone, a vague shooter, if not someone who's trying to cause problems at the Mar-a-Lago residence where Donald Trump is usually located. These are some situations, some issues, some examples of a precursor event, I hope not, Certainly, that is very drastic news for any kind of nation. I only wonder what kind of feelings the Iranians had when they found out that their leader was terminated. So I want to ask you, Norman, how are you feeling regarding the security of U.S. President Donald Trump?
Yes, the security of the president is a number one option for the Secret Service, who's responsible for that. But more importantly, the position he holds, the position as the chief executive of our government, and his uh, viewpoints and his actions drawing more attention than normal. Uh, the Secret Service deals with this every day, every single day. The threat level is high. It stays high. It remains high. So they are looking and constantly taking countermeasures and actions to basically to mitigate any type of attack and attempts. Yes, the press is talking about this situation about uh, the plane. They're talking about the movements. They're talking about, the president himself mentioning about what to do in case something happens to him with the vice president. So these things are normal. This is a daily conversation that goes on, and the Secret Service would do everything it can in conjunction to basically try to mitigate any type of attempt on the president. The new plane he has gifted was looked at as from the Secret Service as a risk. So knowing what they know, they use a prior model of Air Force One, which they're very familiar with. They're not that familiar with the new one yet, and they decided to utilize that in his return trip home. So we're going to see additional countermeasures, certain things done, but it's not anything to get too excited about. These things happen, like I'm telling you from personal experience. We get these threats every single day. And so they have to do their job. And for the most part, they've been doing a exceptional one.
According to Reuters, floods in Bangladesh kill 44 and leave over a million stranded over the weekend. We are seeing southern parts of Bangladesh becoming inundated by torrential rainfall. Very sudden developments in this case. A lot of livestock has been killed. People, those live in the hill track area of Chittagong, has been affected the most, as we feel. And today, even after 7 days of continuous rainfall, parts of the capital's Dhaka has come under flooding. Not only so, it is not only in Bangladesh. There is news coming out of China and Taiwan that Typhoon Bavi has caused various airports to go down, and parts of eastern China's province have been hit by flash floods as well. Turning to Norman Floyd Barnes, as I was reading out some of these very disastrous situations, not only in Bangladesh, in neighboring India as well as China, it is a very crucial time to understand how societies are going to come about, how governments are going to try to protect their people. We are seeing a very active role in China, but it is not being as so well done here in Bangladesh as we go through news of this. Southern areas have recorded the highest level of rain in the last 4 decades or so. I want to have a question to Norman Floyd Barnes. How are you assessing this matter? It's not only in Bangladesh, it is more nations combined, as millions are affected, livelihoods are affected. Norman, how are you assessing this situation?
Yes, my assessment as we ponder through this geopolitical nightmare that we're dealing with, uh, I believe that nations, regions, the whole world need to come back to the center and understand that we are now looking at change, not just a change in government or change in society. We're looking at a basic change in the atmosphere and the earth we live on. We should be taking more time and more interest and more focus, be more prioritizing how do we safeguard the places we live. how do we deal with the lands and the issues of nature? Nature is going to change. We have to understand that and adapt to it. If we don't adapt to it, we become a part of it. And trust me, if we don't change the way we do things regarding dealing with nature and dealing with our homeland, it will be more devastating in any war and all of the wars that we have currently and future plans for. So nations, I believe, should be more focused on coordinating services, resources, and prevention measures. Utilize the technology you have. Utilize the artificial intelligence. Utilize your communication skills. Utilize your ability to reach out and prevent things. So I see nature's, all this stuff we're talking about the war, we've been talking about the conflict, whatever, but nature has the upper hand. Nature will affect, and matter of fact, it will change how we deal with each other day to day because it is a process that the humans has decided to overlook and they decided their own petty issues, war, fighting, killing, whatever amongst themselves is more important than actually how do we coexist into a environment, an earth, a area that is basically evolving. The earth is evolving, is adjusting to the stuff that we do on the surface. So Mother Nature is going to do its thing. It's going to adapt and adjust to things. We have to understand that we have to be able to be conscious of that and aware of that and make adjustment to self to mitigate the amount of losses that is going to come. It's going to be immense if we continue to deal with things. You talk about the flooding. We're going to have flooding. We're going to have fire. We're going to have all type of stuff, air, disease. All these things are part of how the earth is shifting and cleansing itself. The earth is in the process of cleansing itself of waste and toxic activities. So that's my viewpoint. My viewpoint is that the
Right.
earth is seeing what we're doing and is not very happy.
A situation combined, 2026 has been a very troublesome year, as I believe, for not only people here in Bangladesh, but all across the globe, either affected by war, if not affected by these natural calamities. Interesting debate coming from Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain. Before I finish the program, I want to have a last question towards Norman Floyd Barnes. Usually, I gave an example regarding the last year's Texas flooding. It has caused societal disarray between how far the government can respond in terms of this kind of issues. How confident are you in the face that today Venezuela is in a condition coming from natural calamities? Here in Bangladesh, we see 44 lives, going away due to natural calamities once more. The last question to you, how do you see this? Do you think that governments are preparing? If not, are they well equipped to understand a widespread disaster when it occurs? Norman.
Yes, the overall globally, our governments are not prepared and they do not have the mindset of prevention. They have the mindset of recovery and rebuilding, which means making money. So the issue of spending money to prevent something happen is not very cost effective for them. They want to take the risk, like insurance. Hey, we'll risk it until something happens. When it happens, we rebuild and move up. But the issue is that the earth is transitioning and the response time may not be there for you when you want to. You thinking about recovering, rebuilding when you are now the victim. You're now part of the shift in the changing of what's going on. The earth is a living, breathing element. We have to understand that we have a place. We have a responsibility to conserve and preserve what we have. But when we start building and doing and destroying and putting people in unsafe locations for the purpose of profit, we lose. We create our own disasters because most of these things are known. They are giving you giving warnings. Uh, just like the birds can tell you when a storm is coming. We know when these things coming, but the government have not decided that it's a critical issue. They prefer to respond and rebuild for the profits instead of prevention to mitigate things and to put things going on. So again, the people, we're relying on a government that's not there for them, is designed for profits and basically transitional actions and things that move forward. So unfortunately, the poor people, the people who are out means, have to suffer because they are the ones living in these high risk areas. They put the poorest and the ones that have less in these high risk areas. The people who have the means, decision making, and resources, they know what areas are safe and they avoid these areas. They avoid these
Right.
areas. So we're playing a dangerous game here. We playing time, like it won't happen to us today. Maybe next week or two, whatever. We're just playing with time. But Mother Nature, trust me, has his own plan. It is moving and is evolving, and I think we're getting arrogant about how we deal with nature as a second or third option versus dealing with the prevention part. The prevention part is necessary, but our governments do not see this as a profitable engagement for them to engage in. They rather try to
Right.
replace it and rebuild it than preventing it.